I don't think Cal State Fullerton made us look bad with our team in terms of this type of team they were. We told our guys they were so gifted with the ball in their hands individually, and they had multiple playmakers, and we saw that. DJ Silly hit some big shots for them. We were, for whatever reason, very lethargic early on, and they capitalized on that and went up. But I'm really happy with how our guys came out in the second half. 18 rebounds, 14 points. That was John Brockman-esque performance by Desmond Simmons. John Brockman's the only guy ever been here since we've been here to get 18, and now Desmond Simmons is the next one. And he was just all over the place on the boards. Andrew Andrews did a great job filling in for Abdul down the stretch, who cramped up and had spasms, couldn't go back in the game. Andrew broke down their defense and made plays, and just gutsy effort by our guys down the stretch. This may have been, I don't think there's any question, the biggest win for us of our preseason, because we're starting to get our team back, starting to get our players back. I don't know for sure if they will, but I think some of the guys will attempt to start to practice this week. In terms of Scott and Sean, attempt to practice and see if they can go. Not totally sure yet, but we had to get over the hump of this game here. Somehow we survived, and we're ready to move on. Sorry for such a long introduction.
You went to kind of an unconventional guy late in the first half with Sterling. Was that just frustration? Was it just thin on bodies, or?
A little bit thin on bodies, a little foul trouble, but the thing Quinn turned that ball over tonight. I don't know if he'll turn it over again, ever. He's just a smart player, and he got on the floor without any hesitancy. That's just kind of how he plays. He plays really hard, and we just don't have a problem putting him in a basketball game. And, hey, he's a guy that's been hurt. We haven't had him. He's not the guy that's going to be a difference maker necessarily scoring 30 a game, but he is a guy you can put in the game that's smart, going to help your team.
Well, do you think the zone maybe kept you guys snoozing in the first half? Was there a natural inclination?
Could have been. It could have been, and you know, it's something Coach Jackson and I had a conversation before the season started. Well, when we started playing, you ever like starting in zone? I don't like starting in zone because it takes your aggressiveness away sometimes early. I don't know if that was the case, or I have another reason that I won't say publicly, but I have another reason. Subconscious mind, what can mess with you sometimes.
I think that's the first time I can remember you starting in the zone. Have you ever done it before?
We didn't start in the zone. We were in a man on a miss,
okay,
in a zone on a make.
So you can keep that record intact?
Pardon?
So you can keep that streak intact?
Yeah, we still didn't start. What was the first possession? We scored, and we started in zone.
Have you ever started in zone here?
I don't think so. I think we did this last year against UCLA, because we didn't want to deal with Big Josh Smith. He was in the game, so we went.
Is there anything Simmons doesn't do for you? It's not always that he's putting in the stat-stuffing numbers, but every night he seems to, stops or deflections or slides over the defense. How valuable is he becoming?
Consummate glue guy, consummate intangible guy is what he is. He just does little things like that. It's deflections. We had a low number of deflections in the first half, but Dez had over half of them. When he's active like that, he gets stuff done. So this is his second double-double. We had 14 and 12, I believe, against Seton Hall in Connecticut.
Coach, can you talk a little bit with Abdul going out? It forced Andrew to take over and run the show at the end of the game.
He did a good job because, he's fearless, and he got inside their defense, and he either scored or dropped it off to someone. He just was aggressive, and the way they were defending us, we were kind of spreading the floor a little bit and trying to beat them off the dribble. And he's really good at that. But he did a really good job. He had 4 fouls. We're hoping he didn't pick his 5th up, because at that point, then I might have to go get my jersey.
With Getty, it did look like they were working on his knee a little bit. It was as simple as cramps,
spasming, and just couldn't come back, couldn't get there.
So not really moving forward with him?
No, he'd be all right tomorrow.
This is the second consecutive time you've abandoned the high post and gone back to your motion.
They were small and they were switching, and they were really getting us trying to deny, and so we spread them. You know, we always know when we play really pressured teams that run sets, that run flawless sets. A lot of times when we pressure, they'll come out in the second half and abandon all their sets and run, just try to beat us off the dribble. And we kind of did the same thing. And again, there are games when there's no way you can get the motion done with effectiveness because they're just packing it in and they're sitting in on that and not pressuring you at all. Well, you wouldn't run a possession motion.
Down by 14 at the half, and then you outscored by 16 in the second half. What was the message at halftime? What were the adjustments you made?
We just weren't playing hard enough. It's that simple. It's just a matter of guys came back and played harder, I think. Defended better, went after the ball harder. We were 9 of 30 from the field in the first half. I think it was, no one else may not think so, but when you shoot the ball like that and things aren't going right, you find a way to win a game, that's a huge, huge win for you. And I think there are teams across the country that end up having good seasons and they can look back at a couple of games early where they just found a way to get it done, like the Seahawks did today.
So
It was late in the year.
with Desmond just in the second half coming with the first few possessions, having those hustle plays, do you feel like it just kind of set the tone for the team second half?
I don't think there's any question. You know, guys, I think everyone was just looking for somebody to step up, and he was the one that stepped up in terms of aggressiveness. And somehow when you start playing hard, all of a sudden a shot went in, the ball went in the basket a little more after that.
How much does a game like this, where you're more dependent on the role players rather than your CJ and your Abdul, how much does a game, a performance like this prepare you or prepare them for the rest of the season?
Oh, it's big because those guys were in there crunch time and they had to make plays. They were called upon to make plays, and they did. So I don't think there's any questions that'll pay off down the stretch later on in the year. Akeem Stewart down in the stretch made a big play on that deflection down there where they were going in there to score. So just proud of our guys today to find a way. You know, you're playing without Sean, you're playing without Scott, and then down the stretch we're playing without Abdul. I mean, our guys still found a way to get it done. So I'm proud of them.
What was the plan had Wilcox not been fouled with 3.6 left?
Other than to score?
Yeah, what did you want to get done there? You're inbounding
to the basket.
Lorenzo, if I could ask
Not a whole lot of options at that point except go to the basket. 3.6 seconds.
Pass one off topic. It seems like you were really close to Coach Majerus. Your reaction, and what was your relationship like with him?
I was with Coach for about 4 weeks, about 12, 13 years ago, maybe 14 years ago, and we were coaching together with USA Basketball. And when I was with Athletes in Action, before that, we would play Utah every year, and I would see Coach. And before that, when I was with the Milwaukee Bucks, he was coaching at Marquette. Then he was an assistant with the Bucks. So I've been knowing Coach for a long time, but got to know him real well, obviously, when we were almost living together for those 4 or 5 weeks. And I just could not believe the knowledge that this man had about the game of basketball. It was an incredible coach, and I think he's was the funniest non-stand-up comedian that wasn't getting paid for it that I've seen. You know, he's hilarious and did a lot of things behind the scenes for people. And I knew he was sick. I knew he was sick back then. And earlier in the year when someone took over, when Jim Cruz took over for him, someone had let me know that not only is Coach never going to coach here again, he's struggling for his life right now. I knew that had been an ongoing fight for Coach. So, tough loss for basketball community.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, Coach.